from a fledgling empire of merchants and explorers.
To a general who brought Rome to its knees.
To its final, brutal end. This is the story of an empire erased from the map. In the 9th century BC, on the coast of North Africa, a new power was born. Carthage, the legendary city founded by Queen Dido, a Phoenician exile who bargained for a kingdom. They built a civilization, not on conquest, but on commerce. Their ships became the arteries of the ancient world, carrying goods from Britain to the Ivory Coast. Their wealth was legendary, their culture a fusion of Phoenician gods and African influences. They were the masters of the sea, and for centuries, their dominance was unchallenged. But in central Italy, another city was rising, forged in iron and discipline: Rome. This spark would ignite a century of conflict known as the Punic Wars. The First Punic War was a brutal learning experience, fought largely at sea. To counter Carthage's, the Romans invented the corvus, a boarding bridge that turned sea battles into land battles. After decades of war, Rome emerged victorious, seizing Sicily and imposing a crippling tribute on Carthage. That general was Hannibal Barca. Forced to surrender, he carried his bitterness to a new Carthaginian frontier in Spain. There, he made his young son, Hannibal, swear an oath upon an altar to never be a friend to Rome.
Years later, a grown Hannibal, now a brilliant military commander in his own right, would seize a Roman-allied city in Spain. Rome declared war. Instead of waiting, Hannibal decided on a bold strategy. He would take the war to Italy, by land. The crossing was a nightmare of avalanches, hostile tribes, and freezing cold. He lost nearly half his army and most of his elephants. But when he emerged onto the plains of Italy, he had achieved the impossible. The Romans rushed to meet him. At the Battle of Cannae, Hannibal executed a tactical masterpiece, encircling and annihilating a Roman army twice the size of his own. It was the worst defeat in Roman history. For 15 years, he roamed Italy, undefeated, a ghost that haunted Rome. But Hannibal could not take the city of Rome itself. While he remained in Italy, a young Roman general, Scipio, studied his tactics. Scipio's genius was to copy Hannibal's own strategy. He would attack Carthage itself, forcing Hannibal to return and defend his homeland. The Carthaginian Senate, in a panic, recalled Hannibal. The two greatest generals of the age would finally meet on the plains of Zama. Hannibal brought his veterans and war elephants. Scipio brought a new tactic to counter them. The battle was a brutal clash of legions and phalanxes. But Scipio's cavalry, his Numidian allies, routed the Carthaginian horse and then attacked Hannibal's army from the rear, a perfect mirror of Hannibal's own victory at Cannae. Hannibal was defeated. He fled the field, and Carthage was forced to surrender. The terms were harsh. Its fleet was burned, and its empire dissolved. And it was forbidden to wage war without Rome's permission. The Second Punic War was over.
For 50 years, Carthage obeyed. It abandoned military might and prospered once more through trade.
A bitter old senator, Cato the Elder, returned from a visit to Carthage and declared it was still too powerful. He ended every speech on any topic
with the same grim demand.
Rome found a pretext for war. The Third Punic War had one goal: annihilation. The Roman army landed in Africa and laid siege to the city. The Carthaginians, faced with extinction, fought with a desperation Rome had never seen.
The siege lasted 3 years. When the walls were finally breached, the fighting descended into a bloody, house-to-house slaughter.
The Carthaginians made their final stand at the Temple of Eshmun, fighting for every street and every home.
The last survivors, exhausted and surrounded, were taken into captivity. The city was systematically looted. Then, on the orders of the Senate, it was put to the torch. For 6 days and nights, the city burned. When the fires died, the ruins were razed to the ground.
To ensure nothing would ever rise again, the land was plowed and sown with salt, a symbolic curse of barrenness.
Carthage was erased. Its history was written by its conquerors.
But its memory endured, a ghostly testament to the price of power and the fragility of civilization.
From a single ship on a distant shore to an empire that challenged a rising titan, to salt and ashes.
The story of Carthage is a haunting echo, a lesson in the relentless tide of history.
Every city has a history. Which city should we cover next? Let us know in the comments.
Join us on our next journey through time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it.